if you a little dig in the skin there, that will stimulate more roots growth. So if we give it a little chip, we are bound to have more roots growing off our cassavas.
Forget about sustainability. You want to enrich ecosystems.
Every being is equipped to live a positive, energetic balance.
Keep it pruned.
We are cultivating abundance.
Not a problem to cut down trees. The problem is not planting them.
Hi guys, welcome back to another Agroforestry Academy video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is your opportunity. Stop the video, do so. Click on the bell, you'll be the first to know when you get the new content. If you dig the content, share with your friends. And don't forget, if you want to support us further, check out the Patreon. We've got a little extra for people that support us. They get a little, PDF and things like that there. So, some extra complimentary text that might make you understand in further detail our systems. All right, so welcome back. Without further ado, let's talk about what's happening here in Situ de Jazz today. We're back here in the plot which we are establishing the Napier grass, aka elephant grass. So it's very interesting how we, my plan is to have a field of Napier grass. So since I've invested so much in this with the irrigation and the manure, I might as well fill in the gaps with things, like plant the weed around it. So, I obviously don't want to be like hoeing, 3 or 4 times while I wait for this grass to grow. So I'm planting my own weed, we're planting the tomatoes and the lettuces and things like that. So we really are filling in the gaps and making good use of that manure and that kind of irrigation. A lot of crops we don't give enough care, like we would do for when you plant veg. When we've got vegetable beds need a lot of love and care, don't they? They need a lot of attention with the right amount of manure and the right amount of irrigation. And when we get other crops and we're like, oh no, let's plant this, let's make it simple, less manure, not give it that kind of attention that you give to vegetable crops, you don't get the same results. Or I could say you get real positive results when you plant crops with your veg, crops that aren't traditionally planted with veg. I love planting coffee with the veg. The coffees come out a year early. I love planting grass, establishing the grass with the veg. It means that these kind of crops, they get the kind of love and care that the veg needs, and they really benefit from that. And then they really, they really boom and thrive. So this is really the idea here. We are opening the market, like a physical shop. We spoke about this in the last video. So we're preparing all this veg as well, so we can open the market there. So today's video, we're going to talk about a little bit about the consortiums. There's no rules, there's no recipe, and you hardly see us using the same consortium twice. It's a combination of what's available, what kind of seeds are available, what kind of seedlings are available, what kind of year, what time of the year you're at. You really got to adapt your crops to the climate and the kind of irrigation you use. So it's all a big combination, and for all of that to fit in exactly the same twice is very, very difficult. So like I went into the shop where we have our people that plant the seedlings. Obviously we can plan and buy the seeds and get them to plant the seeds for us. So I've done that. In 21 days I'm going to be receiving all the seedlings that I planned. But for now, what they had I already brought home, so I can kickstart the project. We've already gone ahead and with 1 week we planted 4 vegetable beds with the elephant grass. This is the work of 1 week. Obviously we've got other things going on in the farm, but it's a real big coup. These are 40-meter long vegetable beds, and for me that's satisfactory. If I had 3 vegetable beds every week planted in a nice cycle, that is satisfactory. So if we've got 4 planted this week, it's been real positive for us. Okay, so the consortiums here. We planted a consortium right next to me here. We've got the aubergine. right in the center. We've chosen the aubergine to go on every 60 centimeters. In the line, in the center here, 60 centimeters. And we've got the lettuce. We've got purple lettuce. We've got the green lettuce. And we've got spinach. So the spinach, you know, you love it how it covers the soil, and you cut and it grows back, and you cut and it grows back. So I'm really layering the floor down with spinach for like a medium term floor covering and multiple harvest. Our purple lettuce here, that's the quickest. That will come out within 3, maximum 4 weeks. So that you kind of harvest it a little bit smaller, you harvest it a little bit early, you know. And the green lettuce, it stays to grow a little bit longer. So the purple lettuce is kind of like fitted, squeezed in between the spinach in a way that, you know, when it becomes a problem to the spinach, I'm going to be harvesting and the spinach is going to be occupying that space. You know, these are the basic principles. We're always talking about this, you know, occupying space throughout time. Yeah. So I've got to occupy the maximum amount of space for the most amount of time. So when things are time to harvest, there's something else that's going to fill in that gap, ready there, planted already, ready to come in and fill in that space. All right. So we're planting corn and papayas as well in all of these as well. All right. Here we've got cassavas every meter, double tomatoes. We've got our papayas. We've got a cheeky spinach there just underneath the cassavas. We had some leftover seedlings just underneath the cassava there. Cheeky spinach. All right, cheeky spinach there. Okay. We've gone ahead and we planted some salsa and some chives. We've planted some coriander. All right, guys. So what we have here is the cane from the elephant grass, the Napier grass. The way I like to plant it here in situ de jazz, we like to plant 3 eyes. Okay, we cut it, we give it a cut there, so we're using 3 eyes, and I like planting 2 in the soil and 1 just off the soil, in contact with the soil as well. We're going to show you that there. This matter here, you can remove it, it makes it easier, but be very careful not to damage the eyes. So we're going to go ahead and show you here. So in this cane, it's perfect. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just 1 cut halfway there. If you'd like to, yep. All right. This one here, please. Okay. Thank you. So we like giving it a nice pointed cut, you know, always on the angle, because when you stick it into the soil, let's do one from the other side. Here, when I stick it in the soil, it's nice and pointy, and it actually drives into the soil. Okay, if you like to observe here. All right, so in this occasion, we're going to plant it in the borders of the vegetable bed. You can observe how I'm going to do it. All right, so as you can see, it's very parallel, the organic matter. It's just underneath, touching the soil. Okay, I've not stuck it in, you know, I've not stuck it in like this, where I've got, you know, where I've got pointy edges to the side, where people are walking past and tripping on it. Okay, so we've actually got it like proper laid down on the edges like that. See, it's proper just laid down, not inside. You see, I don't want these roots to be in the middle, in the center of the vegetable beds. I want them all to be sprouting from the edges, so it's along the edge like that. Okay, so what I would do here, check out my spare bubble. What I'll do here, I'll see where one is ended and another one's going to begin. You see, this one here hasn't got a pointy edge, it's quite straight, so it's going to be quite difficult for me to penetrate. But anyway, I'll have to use it now. Watch. All right, so I would introduce this one here just where it ends there starts the next one. So I'm not actually overlapping, all right? This particular variety is quite aggressive. So where the third eye would end, 1, 2, 3 eyes, and then 1, 2, 3. So I'd have, you know, all the way like this along the vegetable bed, all right? Let's see how it develops. Now you can see how we've planted the elephant grass here in these very tight lines. We've got very thin corridor. It's very important that we plant them lay down parallel to the vegetable bed. If we plant them sticking out, people are going to be walking in the corridor and the feet's going to be hitting it, and it's going to be, you know, removing it from its bed. So we plant it very, very parallel throughout the outside wall. I love planting things on the outside wall. If I didn't have these Napier grass, I would have certainly planted corn on this outside wall. It just helps us structure root system outside here, so we're not losing soil. And you know, the structured root system on the outside wall is going to make good use of all the irrigation that would have otherwise evaporated, or any manure that would have otherwise fallen onto the corridor. We make good use of all this energy that's trying to escape from the borders. So we establish these crops on these outside walls of these vegetable beds. Usually I use corn. It's a no-brainer, you know. One seed of corn every 25-30 centimeters is going to really establish that root system and make good use of this energy. In our case, as you can see, we planted the Napier grass. This is going to be the legacy. We spoke about some passion fruit to establishing these lines. I'm going to leave that as an experiment. We've got here several lines. I'm going to leave it as an experiment on the last few lines, and it's going to be as an experiment. So I might do about 3 rows of passion fruit. I'm not going to do it in the whole system. Takes a lot of wood, a lot of wire, a lot of man force. Got to buy the seedlings, so I don't want to get this wrong. So I'd like to do it. You have that as an experiment for this time around, okay? And then when I move on, and you know, I'm going to plant more elephant grass throughout the years, you know, I can be sure that it works, and then I can really invest bigger in passion fruit elsewhere. The corn I have chosen to plant here is the popcorn corn, you know, the one that if you heat up in the pan a little bit of oil, pop, you get the popcorn. Now I'm really concerned because I've had popcorn seed in the past where I've planted it, I've harvested it, and you know, I've had the popcorn, and then, you know, I take it to the market, I sell it, it's all fine. I get that same seed and I plant it again. Next time around it doesn't pop. Why was that? The first time I planted it, it must have cross-pollinated with neighboring corn, and then, you know, the second time around you plant it, it's already like a cross, and it's not popcorn corn anymore. So I've gone out and I've bought this organic popcorn corn, and I'm hoping that, you know, the first time around I plant it, I definitely should pop on that, okay? And then maybe the second time, if depending on neighboring corn, the second time if I want to reuse that same seed, I might have a problem. You never know. Now it's the drought season. I'm planting popcorn, I'm planting corn maybe 2 months before our neighbors. That means I can get there before, you know, the competition. There's about a month and a half. You need to be a month and a half away from other crops, from other popcorn, from other corn, to prevent the cross pollination. So I'm in the borderline here, but I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna plant these early corns with this irrigation, and I'm really gonna do my best so that we can get these corns to pop, man. Mind you, there is a risk. Where I've bought this organic popcorn corn, it's possible that there was a cross pollination there. You know, it's possible that now I'm planting this corn and it's gonna pop, but it's already been cross pollinated for this seed. This seed might already have genes of next popcorn. So whoever's selling me this, he might have legitimate seeds, and it might be the same like I've done it here, where he guarantees that this is gonna pop, but he doesn't guarantee that these seeds are gonna grow a corn that's gonna pop, because there might have been cross pollination back there. So I'm gonna have to just take the risk, hope for the best, and if it doesn't pop, you know, animal feed. So it's definitely not going to go to waste, but I'm going to have added market value if I can get them to pop. And if it does, I'll go back and buy more of these seeds. You know, it means this guy's got a safe operation where he's not got corn around him. You know, he's got a protection. It's really one of them things. We can have like a corn a kilometer away, depending on the wind. You got to get that cross contamination. So it's almost impossible not to cross contaminate your corn. We've gone ahead and we've used the most amount of horse manure that we can to cover these soils. I come to a point where I ran out of horse manure, and as we collect more, you know, I was asking my neighbor if he's got some horse manure. We've got a few people that deal with horses in the neighboring farms, and you know what, his horse bed had gone into a pile where he also had thrown his sheep manure there. So I've got this horse bedding with extra sheep manure. So it's like, so look what's happening here. I'm actually using as a covering of the soil. You've seen my last video. If you haven't, go back. It explains all about the covering of the soil, how I love to use the horse manure. But I've actually got sheep manure and horse manure covering the soil. It's really chic. You know, when the rain comes in and this penetrates, it's just already the manure planned for already in 45 days. We already got some rain coming in, and that sheep manure is already going to be like extra, you know, top up manure in the future days to come. I'm really chuffed about that. So since I saw this as a premium material, what I went ahead and I used that in the center of the bed. So I used that. So I said I want to use this premium material in the most amount of beds possible. So in the center of the bed, where I concentrate most of my veg, this is where I covered the bed with this horse bedding that has this extra added sheep manure. And in the mounts of the edge, in the mounts at the tip, I'm using my plain horse manure from in the house. So we're bringing this horse manure from in the house, and we're using it along the edges of the bed with the premium covering in the center. So we can actually, if we've got a premium material to cover, say you got some horse manure in itself, which is premium in itself, you can use it in the center, and then on the edges use some other wood chipping or some other leafage and things like that. If you haven't got enough and you want to have your premium material to cover your soil, if you want to have a greater impact on more vegetable beds, concentrate in the center of that vegetable bed, your premium, and then on the edges maybe a type B, a plan B, a second quality type of covering. All right guys, we've decided we're also going to plant some cassavas with these tomatoes. I know with the elephant grass, theoretically they won't fit. If I let the cassavas grow, it's going to be aggressive, it's going to cover the tomatoes, I'm going to have a shorter tomato harvest, and also it's going to have a negative impact on the elephant grass. But what I'm going to choose to do is to hold the cassavas back. So I'm holding the elephant grass back, I'm holding the cassavas back, and then when all the tomatoes are finished, I'll let them both come and shoot up. If I get the negative information in terms of growth for the cassavas, it's not going to be a problem, because it's done its job. It's coming in like a good service plant where it's structuring the soil with whatever root it comes. It's already helping me structure the soil, and I'm in peace of leaving it as just manure and as organic matter producer from the leaves. But if it all works out well and I can produce and sell, you know, nice big roots for the market, well, that's great. So let's experiment with that. All right, so these are our cassavas. There's just a few here for us to experiment and show you. I'm going to show you how we like to work with our cassavas. All right, so similar to the elephant grass, I like sticking in a few eyes in and a few eyes out, okay? It just helps it with the resprout. It helps it, you know, those eyes that are out, give it a nice early leaf, and already, you know, you're not losing the race against the rest of the consortium. how I like to do it, we give it 2 hits, like bang, turn it around, bang. It's just 2 hits. You can watch it like that, watch. You see? It's just 2 hits. 1, 2. All right? So for me, these are pretty perfect, okay? It's very important you get it at the right size up. If you get it upside down, you won't sprout, okay? And how we also gotta choose to plant it. We like to have, say, the minimum 5-6 eyes, but since they're all very close, it's okay like that. We're gonna have, say, about a 30 centimeters, 25 to 30 centimeters stick. This is an option for us. All right. So the way it's gonna work is it's just like this. All right. So the same as before. On the angle there, okay, leave about 2 eyes out and the rest tucked in. Another tip we can be using that I didn't demonstrate on this one is, if you go to the base, if you go to the roots that are gonna go in, if you give it like a little dig in the skin there, that will stimulate more roots growth. So if we give it a little chip, we are bound to have more roots growing off our cassavas. Okay, so that's the update of what's happened here this week. All right, if you're in the Patreon, if you're part of the Patreon crew that support us there, you can have the PDF with our consortiums here and exactly how we've drawn them out. Okay, the spacing of each specific vegetable. All right, so thanks very much for you guys supporting us on that, and I hope you value that extra little information there for you. In any case, it's on video here. We're exhibiting it to you right now how we've drawn things out. We've got some aubergine planted, and we've got some courgettes planted by seed, which you can't see it pop, hasn't popped out yet, but we're going to be doing bi-weekly videos on this plot here, where you're going to see the development, you're going to see things growing and how everything is fitting in all the way down to the harvest. All right, so you're going to be able to follow this plot along with us, all right, here in the YouTube, all free, all for you. All right, so from the Agroforestry Academy crew, baby, miss you guys loads. See you soon. Let us know in the comments. Let's talk about it in the Facebook group, and for now, check you next time.